Welcome into the Washed Up Walkons podcast. We're here for another episode. It is championship week, title fight on Saturday. Two heavyweights.
Oh, yeah.
Two absolute super heavyweights going at it. I think they could get like Bruce Buffer to come in and do like in the blue corner.
He'll be somewhere on Saturday. I don't know what game, but he's always, if there's big time football going on, he's somewhere.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. They bring him out. He does more non-boxing events now than he does boxing events.
What do you think his price tag is?
I think it's around $1 million
I was
for
gonna
to do
say
the intro.
it's known. It's crazy expensive.
Man, we should
Can you verify that for us? I'm pretty sure it's like 7 figures for him just to do. Let's get ready to rumble introduction, all that shit.
It's.
I was gonna try and get him on like a cameo to open up the podcast.
I don't think that'll be quite as expensive.
Just $500,000
a cameo without like an unprofessional, like him in pajamas, but
on his couch.
Let's see here. So he does on average, Bruce works an average of 27 UFC events per year, and for 12 pay-per-view events, he earns $1.2 million. So it's $100,000 per pay-per-view. And then
it's not bad for 60 seconds of work.
That's unbelievable.
And then for fight nights, he does 15 fight nights per year, where he earns $750,000. So it's $50,000 per event.
Jesus, his hourly rate is insane.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Kevin, how's your week going? Championship week. Hawks are in the Big Ten championship. Going to Indianapolis, but we are not. Are you sad about that?
I'm very sad about that. Gutted, actually. Wanted to go. Had plans that I committed to in July, so will not be attending, though.
Don't love that.
There's no way you're going to a wedding instead of the Big Ten championship.
It's not a wedding, unfortunately.
Okay, good. Okay.
Well, I guess fortunately. Fortunately, it's not a wedding.
Can you check your mic, Kev?
You check your mic.
Gary,
I will.
Kevin, I do believe you're on your external. Gary, you said you were there for the first one. Who'd you go with the first time?
I went with my dad and my sister.
And you had a good time up until about the second quarter?
Yeah, I had a great time just the whole game, just seeing the Hawks in the Big Ten championship. It was a devastating loss.
Was it though, or was it more like?
What do you mean?
Like,
how is 42-3 not devastating?
I feel like devastating is more like heartbreaking.
Was my heart not broken? Like, what do you mean?
I don't know. It was almost. I see devastating, heartbreaking as more of like a Nebraska fans last week. Field goal at the buzzer.
Before every Iowa game against any opponent, I fully convinced myself that they were going to win. So anytime they lose, I'm devastated.
Every time.
Gary is the definition of a true fan.
He is a true fan. He is a fan to his bones.
Like any team would love to have 70,000 Garys.
Oh yeah,
oh, yeah.
There would be a lot less fighting in the stands too in those NFL games.
Ooh,
I don't know. I bet G-Bone in an NFL game, he wouldn't take too kindly to somebody.
No, don't look at me the wrong way.
Yeah, a bunch of 5'8" Garys, just 70,000 5'8" Garys, just like
that's pretty tall.
You're right. That is tall.
That's a lot.
Wow. How did you go just for the day last time? Or are you going up for the whole weekend this time? What does it look like?
I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. So I'm going to drive up Saturday morning, listen to the MAC championship, the Big 12 championship on the way up, get there, get to the hotel, maybe get a little bite to eat, tailgate a little bit, and then head into the stadium.
Okay.
And then drive back the next morning.
Obviously stay there that night because it gets over at like 11 p.m.
Yeah, it's a late one. I think I saw 8 p.m. start time in Indianapolis.
It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous.
I'll be ready.
Yeah, so a lot of people have asked. I don't think we officially announced it or what, but we kind of mentioned it in passing several times. If you're in the Discord, the Patreon, sign up today. By the way, if you're not, patreon.com/washedupwalkons. The boys will not be there. As Kevin just said, he's had a previous engagement. This has got to be important. I'm not gonna like grill you on it, Kev, but this has got to be important if you committed to this in July.
It's really not that important.
Wow, that is unfortunate.
So then, how unimportant is the Big Ten championship?
You know, Gary, when you grow up, sometimes you just got to commit to the unimportant stuff in life.
Okay. So context clues. I know where this has landed. Okay. Kevin said he wasn't able to go. Drake then said something along the lines of, this is when this might have been like peak, like him quitting the show 3 or 4 weeks ago and in like total belligerent state. He was like, he said something along the lines of, I do not want to go to Indianapolis to watch the Hawks get decimated like it's, and then he would insert just absolutely absurd quote there. Which is a possible scenario, maybe a likely scenario. We'll talk about it here in a second. But if he was going to go, we would have flown him out there. Gary, you were going to be there. Kevin, you, me, go. We would have had another event. The meet and greet, which I wish Gary would have been able to have been a part of, was one of the coolest things maybe in my life, Kevin, the last time that we went. And
awesome time.
It was like, Gary, imagine the back pocket beer release times 10
in terms of attendance, or
yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, there
was it on like a sidewalk too.
It was just on a sidewalk outside of Tin Roof. I believe Tin Roof is where the Swarm Huddle meetup thing is going on the day of and the day before. So go check that out. We brought Tin Roof a shitload of business that day. And they were going to do well anyway.
And they responded kindly by giving us the sidewalk.
And they gave us the sidewalk. We wouldn't have been able to fit inside. It was shoulder to shoulder when I got there. And then when I got there and we kind of set up on the side, it was just around the block. It was around the corner and down the street. I mean, it was unbelievable. The fans showed out. So thank you all to who came to that. Sorry we can't do it again. Take your Hawks by a million flags. Sneak them into the stadium however you must. Right? A little coat pocket. Put it in your shoe. I don't know. Hide it between your butt cheeks.
Are they going to confiscate them? Like you have to sneak them in?
I think that they take flags. Like
isn't it like no flag poles, but you can have flags?
Well, I guarantee there's no flag poles.
I don't know.
Could you imagine some like 6 people walking in with a flagpole?
Well, they allow it in like you could in like Europe. There's like Serbian basketball game videos. They have like giant flags.
Yeah, that and like Latin American soccer games. Like you see a bunch of flags waving around.
They have that and like flares going off in the middle of the arena. Like it's crazy.
It just shows this country's not serious about his football.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
The stadium.
Yeah,
might be a security
America.
issue.
What's going on?
I suspect it's going to be a great time. Although I saw this. I saw tickets were fairly cheap today. I saw there were some tickets in the nosebleeds for like $35, $40 or something like that. And there's two trains of thought there. I've heard, and it's probably a combination of both. It's one, a bunch of Iowa fans went 2 years ago, don't want to go again and have the same experience, which is, again, maybe a likely scenario. Or two, the Michigan fans are just greedy bitches, and they're all saving their money because they think they're going to go and spend money on a national championship ticket when they make the playoff. And then
Michigan's also gone the last 2 years and beaten the hell out of their last 2 opponents there. So like when 2021, it was like an expensive ticket because Michigan had never been to the Big Ten title before.
Right. Yeah.
So there was a ton of Michigan fans there who pay a lot of money for those tickets.
Yeah.
Now that they're 2-time Big Ten champs,
shine's worn off,
and they're expected to be they are a heavy favorite, and going to college football playoff. Yes, I can see how they would rather spend their time and money on a playoff ticket versus the Big Ten.
And I would say it's probably swayed more towards that side, Kev, because Iowa fans always show up. It don't matter. It don't matter. So
there's a few times I didn't come.
Well, Gary, represent for the Walk-Ons this weekend.
I will. There's also a scenario 3 is that Ohio State fans bought tickets and are now withholding selling their tickets so that Michigan fans can't go watch the game.
There was some claim of that last time.
I would love the pettiness of that.
I do think that,
like, I mean,
it's not off the table.
In 2021, it was like just lighting $300 to $400 on fire.
Yeah,
by not selling it.
I think we sat in the very top section.
The Michigan fans couldn't enjoy it.
We sat in the very top section in 2021, and I think I paid $200 a ticket.
We bought them mid-season though, didn't we?
Yeah.
We bought them after they beat Penn State.
I think it was like 175 or 185 a ticket, and we bought them like I think after the Penn State game.
Yeah, it was like week 6 or something like that. Yeah.
So Lucas Oil came out okay on it. Good for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, we got sat in the Michigan.
I accidentally bought our tickets on the Michigan side.
I did the exact same thing.
And I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know. So we just had to listen to the whole time. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. God damn, that sucks.
I tell you what, though, man, it was really exciting the first 2 drives.
It was.
Because we held them to a 3-and-out.
Yep.
And then we go like on a 10-play drive. We should have had a touchdown. The halfback pass does not come through, or the fullback pass. What was it?
Monty.
Halfback pass.
It was a halfback
Monty
pass. Was wide open in the end zone.
I believe
halfback pass to the fullback.
Yeah.
And it's wide open. We can't execute it. Could you imagine if we went up 7-0 in that game?
Dude, it would have been so fucking electric.
But I was like, I don't know if you remember, I was into it. I was talking shit. We all were hand motions like, that's a first down. Let's fucking go, baby. Yeah. It's like 33 minutes into the game. And then we can't execute on an awesome play call. And then we missed the field goal too. And so
that was the worst part, is like the air just got sucked out.
And Michigan goes and scores in the next drive.
I think the first play.
I'm looking at it right now. It was a 4-play drive.
Was that the trick play?
No, that was just
the trick play. Might have been the next drive that they got.
That was just a big Blake Corum run.
I remember the trick play.
The trick play was the next drive. Yep.
Yeah, like first play of the drive.
And I've noticed that Michigan will pull out these trick plays in the big games. You saw they had the halfback toss versus Ohio State last week. That went for a big play.
Are you surprised the Hawks haven't run any trick plays this year or last year? Like we were doing it there for every year.
I mean, Brian will pull out the reverse every now and then.
Sure. Yeah. There was
trick plays outside of special team plays.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking like you're right. We don't do it offensively a lot, but like even special teams wise, I've been waiting for a fake punt, a fake field goal, something.
Bro, like 2018, 2019, it was like every other game Coach Woods had something up his sleeve.
I just want to say the Polecats started it. Because for 3 years in a row, 17, 18, 19, because then we threw it to Sam at Penn State.
Yeah.
We threw it to Epi at Michigan State.
We threw TJ one fake field goal.
Yep. Jackson.
18.
Yep.
The side snap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude. We were running them. We ran was this in 16? It would have been in 17. We ran a fake punt against Illinois right before half.
Yep.
Like we were running them all over the place. Coach Woods, where you at, bro? I bet they got something in the book.
Save it for this game. I mean, you got to have something ready for this game.
You better have something ready.
I mean, the over-under for your first half points being scored is half. So you got to have something. You got to try.
Is it literally half a point?
It's both halves. It's 1/2 a point. Just score any point.
Any point. Safety, field goal, touchdown.
Dude, that's so bad.
Blocked extra point return for 2 points.
So I think there's a lot of value in the second half there, if you bet that. Because
I'd go first, if anything.
I think there's value in both, but I think second half, because if you run this game 100 times, Michigan's going to win by quite a bit, majority of the time. It's going to be the mean result. Towards the end of the game, if they're up 2 or 3 touchdowns and there's 6 minutes left, they're not playing their starters probably. You know,
Yeah.
So-
I guess like my thought process is like when I watch Michigan, like it feels like every time like whoever they're playing goes down and kicks a field goal like the first drive every single time. Like Rutgers did it, Northwestern did it, and then like Iowa's been better on their scripted opening drives.
You're right, much
the
better
entire season.
Yeah. Rutgers kind of had them by the balls there for a little bit when they played them this year.
Not really by the balls. I mean, they were
10-7 at
halftime
halftime.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3-point ball game at halftime.
Say that having by the balls.
By the balls, Kevin. Like a bull. Question for Kev to kick this podcast off 16 minutes in here. Hey, this is a DM I got from someone I won't name just for privacy reasons. HIPAA violation. Question for Kevin. Does Kevin use or sell the Stryker Robotic system for knee replacement surgery? I have one scheduled for January 29th. My question is, how does the robotic system help in the actual surgery and recovery?
Do we want to get into this right now?
I would love an answer. Yeah.
I do not sell those. That is a different division of Stryker. However, I am very familiar with the system. Basically, it is a CT based robot. So you get a CT scan. I'm sure this patient is well aware of the process as they are going through it. And instead of using manual instrumentation, this robot has a computerized plan based off the CT scan of your bones. And so this allows the surgeon to do is to optimally make their cuts when placing the prosthesis so that it can be a optimal biomechanical advantage for that patient. What this also prevents is there's oftentimes some soft tissue cuts being made with manual instrumentation. This also limits that. So patients generally have less pain after the surgery.
Talk dirty to me, Kev. Talk dirty. People just got really hot and bothered by that. You talking like professional, like your work. They love that.
Yeah, that's again, that's not my thing. That's a different division, but I hear about it all the fucking time. So I know the spiel.
I can only imagine how just moist people would get if we were able to get the all 22 film on here and have you break down some defense. Oh my God.
I would love to, man. We got to find a way to get an NCAA all 22.
Yeah. If anybody listening,
really I mean, I like pro football, obviously, but it's just college is my passion.
Well, and making it relevant, like if we could get the Hawks film, like people would love that shit.
Who do we have to reach out to in the video department?
That's the thing is I haven't gone there yet. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I feel like if we asked and we're like, hey, it's not like we're going to show like 3 plays per episode and we're going to do it once a week. And these plays are already plays on tape that all the opponents have. Like, can we please have it? Please?
I don't know. I don't know if Phil and Seth would probably fucking text me. I was like, hey, the fuck you doing telling people what our progressions are? And
what if it's like the Connor Stallions cut and it's like a fan sitting in like the top section filming it on his iPhone?
Section 128?
Yeah.
Through binoculars?
Yeah.
I don't know. We got to find it. We got to fucking find it. Because I'm telling you this, and we got to respond. We just talked about this the other day with Searles. If we find it, we will be starting an entirely new like it's not it'll be its own show. Like it will not be segmented in. Kevin and I will find a time each week to hop on for like 20 minutes and do a breakdown X's and O's. Kevin at the whiteboard with his whistle around his neck, Coach Kev segment, and it will do numbies. I already had people talking about it. They'd be like, I would pay whatever you charged to listen to Kevin do that.
That'd be fun, man. I miss I miss film talk and chalk talk and just the way that the X's and O's kind of move together. It's like almost like when it makes a lot of sense to you. It's almost like when you are like sitting down at a chessboard and you see like 10 moves ahead and it just all makes sense, you know?
I know that you have a passion for it and that you'd love it to be part of your life still. So we're going to figure that out. If anybody out there somehow, some way has access to like current or like immediate all 22 film, or has any kind of lead on that, please reach out to us. Next, before we get into a couple things, how about a couple reviews, a couple podcast reviews, huh?
Oh, it's been a while.
I thought at one point we were a 4.8 out of 5 stars. It says we're a 4.7 now. It's unfortunate. It's probably still too high. As you know, around here, when we do reviews, we read one good or generally positive, and we read one bad. We'll read the bad first. 2 stars. This was on November 4th.
2 stars is generous. I mean, usually when there are bad reviews, it's 1 star. I feel like we don't get very many 2, 3, or 4 star reviews.
I would agree. 2 stars. Title of the review, it's okay.
It's valid.
I'd say it's pretty spot on.
Valid.
Kevin provides good insight. Drake is entertaining, if sometimes a little much. Kluver is endlessly cringy, misuses more big words than anyone else on the planet, and has a little brain, but somehow an enormous ego.
Is he saying wolves is a big word?
Because it's not. It's only a 6-letter word.
Well, it's 5 letters the way you pronounce it.
He's
no. It's still
O's.
6. There's 2 O's in there.
Oh, okay.
Just for enjoyment, because it basically was pretty easy on Kev, pretty great for Kev and Drake here. So I did something to this guy. Kluver is endlessly cringy, misuses more big words than anyone else on the planet. I would agree with that. I do often try to use.
You do throw some good words out there that.
But I miss.
I don't know if you're using them correctly though.
I miss sometimes, for sure. I miss. And this part hurts. It cuts deep. Has a little brain, but somehow an enormous ego. I mean, I don't know how. Little brain. I mean, says you, bro. Says you. Sub Gary in for Kluver, and it wouldn't be half bad. So he's saying. So he's saying. That's how this one ends. So he's saying if we just take Grant, and I quit the forward public facing product that is our podcast, and it's just you and Kevin now, and maybe Drake would come back in. Probably not. Probably. That his review would go from 2 to maybe 3 or 4 stars.
You know, each of you have like your own. I guess DHT Drake's still on there too, but there's Drake and Gary Fridays or whatever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Kevin and Gary Mondays or whatever. Like we would just actually talk football the entire time.
Yeah, we can just talk ball.
Just instead of just nonsense that we do all the time.
Don't tease the people now.
Crazy idea that we'd actually only talk about football. I think that's what would happen.
Also, I think that if you and Grant found 30 minutes to record that weekly and we released it on Mondays, it would be better than DHT and it would be better than Drake and Gary Friday.
I've listened to neither, but I've heard great things about both.
Also, that podcast already exists. It's called the In the Kitchen podcast. Mondays and Thursdays.
Good plug. Good plug
on Spotify.
Well, you never.
But it doesn't have Kevin. I'm down for Kevin and Grant Mondays.
I still think Kevin and Grant Mondays would be really, really great. I question if Gary should take on any more recording time during the week. He's on a podcast with a recording button flashing like 8 hours a week. It's nuts.
He's going to have an insane radio career, I think.
I agree. Ooh. Now the good review. By the way, leave us a review. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I don't know, Google Podcasts, Podbean, all the platforms. You can leave us a review, and then you can write a review as well, both in stars and paragraph form. This one says, this is the good one. This was 2 weeks ago. If Seinfeld was about Hawkeye sports, that's the title. First of all, Drake, come back.
Yeah.
Secondly, best Hawkeye/Friends podcast out there. Third, this other reviewer nailed it with his or her review. The chemistry here is very Seinfeld-esque, especially now that they added Grant. Kevin is the steady one, so he is Jerry. Kluver is Elaine. And I don't know
I never watched Seinfeld.
I've never watched Seinfeld either, so I don't know who Elaine is.
What? You don't. It's the only girl on the show.
Well, of course,
I know who the characters are, but I don't know the traits and quirks about each character.
Okay.
Kluver is Elaine's. He said you're the steady one, and so you're Jerry. I'm Elaine, somewhat level-headed, but also quirky in his own right. Drake is always angry at something, so he is George. Grant is the one who you're not quite sure how he found his way into the crew, but somehow he's always there and adds value to the chemistry. That makes him Kramer.
Ooh, is this pre or post Laugh Factory Kramer? Because that makes a big difference.
I don't know. I have never met these guys, but listening to them makes me feel like I am among a bunch of buddies shooting the shit. I feel like I know them. As someone who was once involved in the football program a long time ago, hearing these guys reminisce makes me happy that the game, the team culture, brotherhood, and antics had not changed much over the years. Their guest interviews are great. Their in-season game analysis are spot on. Many would disagree with you there, bud. So much so, in fact, that I would love to see them do an episode actually during a Hawkeye football game, like the Mannings on Monday Night Football. Stay tuned. That is a long shot idea that has actually been ran.
I would say too many mean things. I don't think it would go well.
You're probably right. Perhaps at an in-person live event at a venue that serves hops by a million beer, where they are doing a live podcast during the football game to raise money for the kids. He writes, feel free to credit me on air for that idea, Kluver. Keep up the great work and Hawks by a million. Appreciate that review. Thove25 was the username. You're a legend. Okay.
We crossed 1,000 reviews, by the way.
I know.
Jesus.
It's a lot, dude.
It's like half our listeners.
It's like 2 times our listeners. Where's my document with topics here? Phil Parker is one of your 5 finalists, the only defensive coach amongst the 5 for the coveted Broyles Award, which goes to the nation's best assistant coach. He is most likely, at least from my opinion of reading the media around this on Twitter, going to get hosed. And the guy from Michigan who stepped in as OC is supposedly the front runner here, which I guess like all you have to do is cheat, and then your coordinator gets elevated, and that's what makes him the best assistant. I guess we'll just start cheating. It blows my mind that Phil Parker has never won this award.
Yeah. The guy's just great at what he does year in, year out. And he's been on a special run here since 21, 22, now 23. Like these last 3 years that he's put together, like might be the best 3 consecutive years of defense he's had in his career.
I would love to look that up just by.
I can't think of a span that would top it. Dude.
Subjectively, I think you're right. I would agree. I would love to see what the objective numbers say.
Yeah.
Because I bet those 02, 03, 04 wasn't bad either. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to guess that 21, 22, 23 or better. I'm gonna.
He's had some. When you consider the offensive struggles, it makes it even more impressive because of the amount of plays that the defense is on the field. The amount of times it's about exposure. Like the more opportunities that you're out there, the more chances that something big can happen. And big things happen to the Iowa defense too. But not at the rate as most defenses, not even close. And
that's kind of been his thing. I want to say it was 2016, 2015 maybe, where they went back and looked. It's like, hey, if we don't give up big plays, we win the game almost every single time.
I remember you.
It was 2 big plays or less. We won the game like 90% of the time.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Because the thing about doing this podcast almost 500 times now is like you feel like you say the same shit over and over again. But
Which we do.
I'll say it again. It is so hard to put together a 10-play drive.
Extremely.
It's like you count them up in the game, there's usually less than 3 of them. It's hard to sustain drives down the field, especially if, what's the Iowa defense give up? I think it's like 4 yards per play.
Yes.
Which means if you want to score a touchdown, say you start in the 25-yard line.
Yep.
Oh my God, math's not my strong point. 12, 14. You got to run 16 plays, something like that.
Yeah.
Hard to do. Hard to do without going backwards.
Dude.
Without going backwards, or without having a no yard gain play. Hard to do. So just play your fundamentals. Let them take the easy stuff. Even some of the easy stuffs are hard to execute. Like taking that 5-yard out route to the field. It's actually a very long throw, and it's hard for quarterbacks to make. It may not look like it. Oh, it's like, oh, he threw the ball 5 yards downfield. No, he actually threw a 45-yard pass.
Yeah. Currently, after the 12 games of the regular season, Iowa in total defense ranks 7th in the country, which is wildly 4th in the Big Ten, behind the Big Three in the East. Number 1, Penn State. Number 2, Michigan. Number 3, Ohio State. Iowa at 7, allowing.
So, Penn State and Michigan get the advantage that their offense was good at marching down the field. Like they were good at sustained drives, draining clock, but that means that their defenses weren't on the field as long. Now, don't get me wrong, but 2 really good defenses, but they didn't have to spend as much time on the field as Iowa's defense this year.
And Kev, you just absolutely drilled that on the head, that little analysis there, because I'm looking at the top 20 and it gives you your total plays. There are 3 teams in the top 20 defenses that have been on the field less than 700 plays. Number 1, Penn State, and number 2, Michigan are 2 of those 3 teams. 686 plays, 672 for Michigan. Ohio State, 757 defensive snaps. Iowa, far and away in the top 20, just out there by themselves at 832. 150 more snaps than Penn State, 160 more than Michigan.
So that's like an extra 12 to 15 plays a game.
Yeah.
And they're only giving up how many more yards?
Penn State is they're honestly both at wild numbers. Penn State gives up 223 a game. Michigan gives up 246 a game. Iowa 279.
All right, but yeah, at an extra 10 to. I mean, you could probably look it up. Their average yards
per play. Penn State's first at 391, which is absurd.
That is absurd.
Iowa 4.04. Ohio State at 3, 4.12, and then Michigan at 4. The four Big Ten teams all at the top 4. Michigan all the way up at 4.41. So those top 3 teams right around the 4 mark are just absurd. That's crazy.
Yeah. I think the yards per play, yards given up per play is probably a better metric to compare offenses and defenses against each other than
I would say
than yards per game. Like
absolutely.
Offense. Like it's a more objective metric if you can say that data can be subjective. I don't know if you can or not, but you know what I'm saying, right?
It uses 2 data points instead of 1.
Sure.
Right. It's a more saturated number where it's like there's more taken into account here. Not only are we taking into account the number of yards, but we're taking into account the amount of plays the offense got to. It's the only stat that matters, in my opinion. I don't think you should compare.
I think offense, it should be my favorite stat on offense is points per drive, I think.
That's a great stat. It's a great stat.
Because that will factor in how many times did you actually get the ball, right? It's like, these teams that air raid offense score in 2 minutes, but they get the ball, 18 possessions in a game or something like that versus, the Army-Navy game, like you might get 9 possessions that entire game.
Yeah. Do you remember a couple of years ago when, obviously the offensive woes have continued, but I tried to explain how the hidden yardage that we get on punts and special teams and average, like turnovers and all these things, how that actually evens us out where we don't get as much offensive opportunity, yards possible to gain per game.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe when I went and figured that out, it was something like right around 100 or 120 yards. Iowa averages 120 yards less possible to gain from their average starting positions on the field, according to average field start, and average drives per game, which was like a really, really telling tale of like, here's why we don't get as many, because we simply don't have the opportunity to.
Right, which is why we'd be fine with getting 3 to 350 yards a game. Like we can win a lot of ball games like that. We won 10 this year.
We win a lot of ball games getting 250,
245 or whatever. Yeah. Not trying to say that this is where we want to be at this year. I think I've said it again. Everyone knows that the offense needs to be better.
Right.
There needs to be improvements. But we don't need to be at 400 plus yards a game to be
like the other teams.
A good offense objectively.
Yeah, 100%. And so hopefully Phil gets that award. I think you cancel it if you don't give it to him. He probably won't get it. He'll get screwed. But something that Phil has his hand in, just because he's such a great coach, is the Hawkeyes now have 6 Tatum Woodson Big Ten DBs of the year, with Cooper DeJean being this year's selection. And that's 6 of 13.
Yes, this award is 13 years old, and the Hawks have won 6 of them.
Absolutely absurd. And by the way, Coop didn't play the last 2 games. The man played 10 games out of 12. He wins the DB of the year and the Rogers Dwight Big Ten Return Specialist of the year. What an absolute goat.
Yeah, kid is special. Absolutely gutted for him to be hurt and not be able to play in this game this weekend. I think he would have been a true freshman for the last time they went, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But,
he played special teams, but he wasn't involved defensively.
Yeah, man, that sucks. But yeah, kid can play ball.
Tory Taylor, also a national award. By the way, Coop is also one of 3 finalists for the Jim Thorpe Award. Crazy that he does that in 10 games. Another top nationwide finalist. He'll be up for the Ray Guy. Is Tory Taylor. And
I'm going to miss watching him play, man. I'm going to miss watching him punt the football.
He's the Edelman Fields Punter of the Year. I believe currently he is ranked 3rd in punting across the country. Punt.
Just like punt yards or what?
Yeah. Net punting.
Okay.
Net yards per punt.
Is there a stat for like times down inside the 10 or like times down?
Probably not readily available, but I bet you could.
I'll do digging.
I bet you could dig it up. Net punting yards for the year.
Oh, he's out by holy shit.
Boys. I want to know. Yep, we're number 1. We have punted the most times out of all 133 teams or 32 teams with 80 punts. Our net yards are. Oh, why did it go the other way? Yeah, net yards in the country. We are first with net yards, which means
44.5.
Tory kicks it a certain amount. The return amount is then subtracted off of that. And we, obviously, you want the highest number in that equation. And we have the highest number in the country. We average a net of 44.5. And I'm telling you right now, that is juicy. Some guys don't even.
Yeah, like there was a time in our career where we would love to just have grossed that.
Punt yards total, number 1 in the country. Not exactly a stat you're proud of. Tory's leading by almost 500 yards. 3,800. The next best, second, is Navy's punter with 3,360.
How many games do you think we lose this year if we have an average punter?
Maybe 2 more.
I think you'd have to go back into each specific game and determine which ones, like field position, made such a critical difference. But I guarantee you that if we had an average punter, that we would have.
It's at least one. Somewhere, the amount of times. Think about the amount of times Tory placed us inside the 5 or inside the 10.
It's 6 times inside the 5, in case anyone's curious.
Jeez, that's half
and
a time.
11 inside the 10.
So once a game, he's sticking them inside the 10-yard line.
Hard to go 90 yards.
And that sets up the defense for scores, for tight punt scenarios on the other side where they have to just snap it and get it out. I mean,
29 times inside the 20.
How many?
29.
Jesus Christ. What a stallion. What a weapon. He is going to be potentially, I would say him and Coop are going to be the most missed players on this team after this year, assuming that Coop is on his way to the NFL. Which may be, not may be. But those two guys, I would say Tory Taylor and Cooper DeJean were the most significantly individually impactful players on our team this year.
I don't think that's hyperbole. I think that's an accurate statement.
I'm going to miss the shit out of those guys.
Yeah. Well, you said it, like, say the Hawks punt, get a 3 and out, and receive a punt. Like, we're getting probably 5-10 yards out of that play, right?
Yeah. Yeah, between this duo, Cooper getting us yards on punt returns, Tory not allowing the other teams to get yards, we're gaining 1 or 2 first downs every punt, 1 punt per team. Like, you cannot understate how important these two dudes are in the return and punting game. It's just absolutely insane. We had some Big Ten honorees. Something that I could have only dreamed of. Damn near our whole defense.
Awesome.
Y.A. Black, honorable mention. Sebastian Castro, somehow only second team by the media. Snubbed. Deontay Craig, honorable mention. Cooper, first team. Joe Evans, what does that say? Third team? I can't fucking read it. Jay Higgins was also first team. Love to see Higgins getting the recognition. Nick Jackson, third team. Logan Lee, honorable mention. Quinn Schulte, honorable mention. Bunch of studs. And then I'm pretty sure the offense came out as well today. Did they post it? We had 3 linemen make the... Oh, yeah. Here we go. Offensive honorees. Eric All, even though he missed half the freaking season, honorable mention. Connor Colby, third team. Nick DeYoung, third team. Jennings Dunker, honorable mention. Rusty Feth, honorable mention. Logan Jones, third team. Mason Richmond, honorable mention. LaShawn Williams, honorable mention. So, bunch of guys getting awards. I wouldn't know, but I'm sure that feels good after a long year of work. It's so sick. Drew Stevens made third team kicker as well, which is hard to do. Like, there's only 3 spots.
Top 3 out of 14, not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, Kev, this is the time of year where we sit back and we sit here and we go, but how? Like I was sitting here, we all were last year, and we're like, how the hell are we going to replace Jack Campbell and Seth Benson? Like, what are we going to do? And
had a couple guys step up.
You what?
Had a couple guys step up.
I mean, it's unbelievable, man. It's crazy. Feels good. Coach Parker is, I feel like, one of the most like nationally overlooked and underappreciated guys. I really do.
I don't know if he is anymore. I feel like he's getting a lot of the praise that he deserves now nationally.
Think so?
I think so.
I hope he is.
I think so too.
I think he's a well-known name across the country now. Like, there's rumors like people were trying to get him to go take the USC job or something like
really?
that.
Well, the USC Twitter fans have been begging for him for like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. 16th in the CFP rankings. We debuted at 16th, went back 17th when we beat Illinois, came back up a spot when we beat Nebraska. We're sitting right at 16th, which is, I think that's exciting. I know that's not going to get us in the playoff. I know that's not going to get us in a one of the six, the big, what do they call them? The
New Year's Six.
The New Year's Six. However,
If we won the Big Ten championship, there's a chance.
there is a chance.
If we win the Big Ten championship, we're in a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah, you're right.
Not
You're
completely out of the picture.
right. But you sit here at 16 and you look ahead 1 year. The CFP, and you're seeing these come out on Twitter. You see the projections. Hey, if the playoff had expanded this year, here's what your 12-team playoff would look like. And at 16, boys, we're 4 spots out. And I mean, we are absolutely hunting a playoff spot. And say what you will, I still think those 12 playoff spots are going to be coveted. I think they're going to be respected. I think they're going to be. We talked about what is a team's goal? What is a team's expectations? Does winning your conference championship mean as much as making the playoffs? Which one means more? Vice versa. A year from now, if we're sitting in this spot, we are like, damn, we're so close. And if you can get in the playoff, anything can happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if this is next year, it's like, hey, win and you're in.
This is this year's scenario. If it was right now, Grant.
Yep. Like as of today, this is pre-conference championships.
So you'd have Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and Florida State with the byes. Of course, this would shift because obviously Georgia, Alabama, both in the top 12 have to play each other. Wisconsin or Washington, Oregon, 3 and 5 have to play each other. Florida State, they're at 4, but they don't have their star quarterback. They have to play a Louisville team that could very well beat them this weekend.
Did they say, man, I guess I haven't thought about this before. What is the timing for like the playoff games? Is it just going to be like same as this year, except the first round of the playoffs start a week earlier? Or
I think there's a week. I think it goes like conference championships, Army, Navy, and then like these home games start where it's like Penn State, Texas, and
I believe Grant's
Ohio
right.
State, Ole Miss.
And then the play-in games, I guess semifinals. I don't even know what the fuck to call them anymore.
Yeah, I think the semis still end up being New Year's Eve.
Yes.
I could be totally wrong, but I think that's what I saw.
I think you're right. So these play-in games would happen in like the third weekend of.
So you'd get a bye after championship weekend.
Yeah.
And then first play-in games.
And then every Saturday from there, I think, would be then your Elite Eight, semifinals, championship.
Quarterfinals, semifinals.
I just think it would be so awesome too. Like middle of December in Ohio, like Ole Miss has to go up there.
Man, it is going to play out in some really, really cool scenarios.
It's gonna,
yeah. Cool. And then think about too, like Tulane beat USC last year. Like they're not even completely eliminated. Like they can pull something crazy.
Yeah.
Where are Dukies at?
Not eligible next year.
Well, let's bring
they're in a bowl game now.
Let's bring up the Gary top 25.
Oh shoot. Hold on.
Let's grab that real quick because that is important. People care. People want to know where are the Hawks, where are the Dukes.
Well, now it's getting really important too because like unfortunately I don't have a committee vote and they might just say screw the Gary poll and put someone else in over what I'm saying.
It's unfortunate that your opinion is not taken into account when they're these.
It has zero credibility.
It's so unfortunate. But you have the same. Well, I guess you have Michigan and Georgia flipped from the CFP rankings.
Yes,
and you have all year.
Yeah, I think I don't remember when I flipped them, but I've once they flipped, they never went back.
Okay.
The top 4 have not changed, or no, they changed this past weekend. Never mind, because I had Ohio State in there. So.
What do you think about Ohio State? There's an argument out there that Ohio State deserves to be in the playoff.
Well, right now, right now, they shouldn't be in anyone's top 4. But
correct.
But like I mean, like I still think Ohio State's one of the top teams in the country. Like if they made it in, I don't think I think it's like last year everyone assumed it would be a bad game, and then they were a field goal away from beating Georgia. Like Ohio State's still really good.
Let's say this happens, right? Let's say Michigan wins this weekend versus Iowa. Okay. Georgia wins against Alabama.
Okay.
Quite honestly, I think either team in the Pac-12 win, and they're the third team.
Okay.
Florida State without their quarterback, Jordan Travis, loses.
Yeah. You'd still need Texas to lose.
You think Texas winning jumps them ahead and puts them in? Yeah, that probably does. You're right.
I think you have to award, like the games have to.
You're right. They'd be a Big 12 champion.
Yeah.
If Texas loses to who they play, Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if they lose to Oklahoma State, do you put Ohio State then in at the 4? If FSU and Texas lose?
Yes.
Okay.
Then I would. Like if it was Georgia SEC champion, Michigan Big 10 champion, Oregon or Washington, and then Louisville ACC champion, then I would put Ohio State 4.
If they had any balls, they'd put the Dukes in.
They should. It's just if they have morals, they should put them in. But right. I'm just happy the Dukes are getting a bowl game at all. So,
have had several people message and say, it is crazy. You and Gary talking about JMU and Kevin, you three talking about JMU and the Dukes and your passion for them as a Duke adjacent podcast has literally made me stop while I'm flipping through the channels and watch the rest of their games.
I get sent so much JMU stuff on Twitter now,
dude.
I just get and I love it. But it's like if anything happens to JMU, I get a million tags.
Hell yeah, I love that.
It's awesome. But no, I'm so excited for this. Like this weekend, because there's so many scenarios that are just like such a pickle for the playoff, and I hope all of them happen.
Yeah,
because I want, like, I'm definitely gonna be mad about something in the playoff. I just don't know what it is yet.
True,
and I'm really excited because before it's been like, okay, maybe like 4 and 5 are like up for debate, but it's been like pretty much locked up.
Yeah.
But like now, like Alabama all the way at 8 can still make it, and that's never happened before.
I know
a team at 8 has never made it. Like if you've been ranked at 8. I think it was like in week 10, you've never made it to the playoff before.
Yeah.
And like Alabama is still very alive.
Here's a quick thought that, again, kind of toys with the idea of the expansion next year. I would love both your opinions. I think at 4, the 5th and 6th teams always have some sort of argument. They're like, we deserve a chance at the Natty, right? At a chance at the Natty. When we go to not every year, but a lot of times.
This year, whoever winds up 5 and 6 probably has an argument. Yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
And there's been a couple years like that. I think when we move it to 12, if you're 13th, don't bitch. Don't bitch. No bitching.
Well, I mean, I would say even if it was only 8, right?
Yeah.
If your regular season wasn't good enough to be in the top 8, but now we're saying 12, right? Then you were not the best team in the country that year.
Now,
right?
obviously, we'll still get some complaining, some moaning.
I was going to say, there's going to be complaints. Like if it was right now, like Tulane gets in, right? But then there's definitely going to be like Oklahoma fans who think that they deserve it over Tulane.
Yeah, no, it'll happen, but they don't.
Well, I think the bigger you make it, the more subjectivity there is to it, right?
I mean, on the
top
bubble,
4, it's like, okay, record, strength of record, conference champions, right?
Yep.
There's only 5 championships. Like, if you have one of those 5, then you have a very good argument to get in. But now, once you put in all the conference champions, then okay, all right, how do we rank this 11-1 team versus this 10-2 team? You know?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. There will be so much to talk about next year on this podcast when the first year. Oh my God! You're gonna be with us next year.
Oh, are you firing me? Did I just get fired?
I feel like I'm gonna lose you at any moment, and it breaks my heart.
I mean, I don't have any have any plans. I don't know.
You just heard it here first. Gary
Am I getting fired?
No.
I feel like I'm getting fired.
No, that you're in fact you're getting a promotion, just like that guy in the review at the beginning of the podcast said. You're actually taking my spot.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Should we preview this game quick? Do we have any thoughts? Wolverines versus Hawks.
I'm excited.
How many turnovers do we need to win the turnover margin by to realistically have a chance? Because I don't think just winning it 2-1 is going to do it.
Do those turnovers is it like turnover into a point in the same play?
Probably gonna need it to be.
Or is it
Yeah,
like
I mean, if you don't,
interception in the end zone punt?
I mean, if you don't take advantage of the turnovers in some way or shape or form, then they're not going to do much for you. They have to win by at least 2 turnovers.
Yeah, I was going to say it has to be like at least 3-1, 2-0, maybe 3-0. Like it's
maybe not if they get some big special teams plays, but this is a very good defense. Ohio State obviously put up 24 points on them, but they have some dudes on their offense. I don't think their quarterback's that great, but
one of the best dudes.
One of the best dudes in all of college football. We do not have that dude. So I think we're going to have a hard time sustaining long drives.
Yep.
So I think we're going to have to find some way, shape, or form. We have to win penalties, special teams, turnovers, whatever it is. We have to make it short fields for offense. And on the flip side of the field, like defense has to play lights out.
Defense has to play a perfect game. They need like 3 turnovers.
Like not just not giving up a lot of points or only allowing field goals. Like we're going to need them to get some 3 and outs so that again we can play the field position game.
We need 3 and outs so that we can at least have a starting field at the 30, maybe the 40 if we get a bad punt. We need 1 or 2 of the interceptions that we have to get to cross the 50. We got to be in field goal range.
And I don't know how much Michigan's going to throw the ball. I mean, they have one of the best offensive lines in college football. I think their guard broke his leg.
He did. He did.
So bad injury.
Yeah, he was one of their best players, I want to say, but they still have one of the best offensive lines in college football. So I think they're going to lean on their running game a lot with that and Blake Corum. So I don't know how many opportunities there will be for interceptions, but
we have to get them when they are.
Yeah, we usually you have to win like a couple of those hidden stats, whether it's turnovers or penalties or
we have to win them all.
Yeah, we got to sweep the board.
We have to win them all, and we can't miss kicks. We can't kick it out of bounds. We need Tory.
We cannot drop passes.
We can't drop touchdowns. We can't drop.
So we have to play perfect.
And
beyond perfect.
We need Tory inside.
Not beyond perfect, just as close as we can get to it.
We need Tory inside in an air-conditioned, climate control environment to probably average like 52 plus. I mean, we need it all. But I'm telling you this right now. They play the games for a reason.
Yeah, and this is what we said back when, after the Wisconsin game, people were complaining that they're going to go to the Big Ten championship. Some quote-unquote fans not wanting to go to the Big Ten championship. Like,
we're here.
You can't win it if you're not in the game, and they're in the game. And it's 0-0 right now.
Can I share a stat?
What if JJ McCarthy comes out, Joe Evans sacks his ass, and JJ breaks his arm?
Let's hear your stat, Gary.
I don't want to root for injuries, but stat. Iowa's been a 20-point underdog 3 times since 2016. 66% winning outright. Both times they were the home team. Technically, this weekend we're on the home side. Technically.
You know what they don't have this year, though?
What were we official underdogs in 2016 versus Michigan?
You were 24-point underdogs.
24-point underdogs. Hawks are going to need a prayer.
They're going to need a prayer.
Which did the were there even over?
Do we tell the Walmart guy story again, just for Iowa versus Michigan?
You know what they need this week? They need Walmart guy. Somebody better have been at Walmart, and that guy, I hope, was doubting them.
Geez, 2022 was 30-point underdogs. Oh my god.
Yeah, against Ohio State last year.
Ohio State. Yeah, they
Gary, they forgot in that tweet to mention that the walk-ons were on those 2 winning programs. The walk-ons, not just any walk-ons. The walk-ons. I agree, Kev. You hit it spot on. We got to be perfect or damn near. We have to have a couple things fall our way. If we had Coop, and I go back to me saying that he has the most individual significance that any player could have. If we had Coop, he's the kind of guy that makes these plays both on defense and the return game. Man, the confidence level goes up just that much more, but we don't. And you take the guys you got, you lock the fucking door, you throw the key away, and you get in a dogfight. And they got to find a way into that second half and make it a ball game. And I think if they can, then they can compete. Michigan's buttholes will tighten. I promise you, it's what happens. But you have to get there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that 2021 game, it's 3-14 at halftime, but it could have easily been 14-10, or, they gave up one big play. Hawks could have been winning 10-7 at halftime.
Oh, yeah.
Second half just kind of got out of control, and it turned into a kind of a clusterfuck. But if this game is close, late third quarter, fourth quarter, then something can happen, right? We've seen it happen a couple times this year with Coop returning a punt return, or just an errant turnover by the opposing team, and that's all the Hawks need to capitalize on. Yes, find a way, fight your dick off, and find a way to keep it close and make something happen in the final minutes of the game.
The boys will be fired up. It is a unique, rare opportunity to be able to go to Indianapolis. I already saw the shots online, the Twitter, Iowa football Twitter account tweeting out that the Big Ten, the TV crews were already there shooting the promos. They got them up in the jersey, got the lights on, the makeup on. They got them all done up. The Gus Johnson intro, the tunnel walk, the smoke. It's going to be sick. If you happen to listen to this podcast and you're on the team, fucking enjoy that moment, man, because they don't come often.
It's special. I still remember just waiting in the tunnel, hearing the intro video, and I mean, I love the swarm walking out to Kinnick, but it's special, man.
It was dope. Which brings us to the final segment of the week, everybody's favorite. DJ Kevin. Got to get back on the horse this week, man. All three of us. Not a lot of games to choose from. In college, at least. Kevin, what do you got?
I'm going to start it off with the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma State and Texas. Texas is fighting for a playoff berth. They need to make it look pretty for the committee, and I think that ends up being a lot of points. They will give up some, but I think Texas scores a lot. Give me the over on 55 in that game.
Wow. Okay.
We'll go to the SEC next for the Bama-Georgia game. In years past, this would be like, hey, defensive struggle, two great defensive teams. I think actually this year it might be a little bit of a shootout. I'm going to take the over 54.5 in that game. And we'll finish it off at Lucas Oil Stadium, the Michigan Wolverines versus the Iowa Hawkeyes. Hey, man, I believe that this team has some fight in them. Give me the Hawks plus, 22?
Yep.
Whatever it is. Give me the Hawks plus the number.
Love it. Love that. I'm going to go to the Oregon-Washington game. Big favorite. Especially Washington beat Oregon at home earlier this year. Barely. I know that Oregon's played better. They look like the better football team. They win, and they're in the playoff. I think they win. I don't think they get it done by 10.
It's a big line. It's a lot of points.
Give me Washington plus 9.5. Let's go to App State Troy.
Wow.
All right. Sunbelt. I love it.
Fun Belt.
App State always finds themselves in interesting games.
It's just the Sun Belt's fun.
Just a couple weeks ago, gave our Dukes fits, ruined their perfect season.
How dare they?
In overtime. Troy's -6. I'm going to take App State.
Okay.
+6.
It's a little scouting. We got Troy on the schedule next year.
We do. We do have Troy on the schedule early next year. And then take me finally to Louisville, Florida State.
Oh.
Very, very interesting game. No Jordan Travis. I bet on Louisville a couple times earlier this year. They bent me over. I think Florida State is going to find a way to get this done by 3 or more. Give me FSU -2.5 and make it they're going to make the playoff, put them in. Because a lot of people think that they're going to be like, well, you don't have your quarterback, so 13-0, sorry. No, they get in, they win this game, and they get in the playoff.
How do you guys feel about that? Because there is a lot of
You have
debate
to put
of,
them in.
like, is it 4 best teams or 4 best resumes?
The games have to matter. You have to put a team in that's in the Power 5 and wins every game.
So, like, Liberty is going to be, if Liberty wins, they're a 13-0 conference champion.
But they're not a Power 5.
Okay.
That's the distinction here.
We're just checking.
They can hang their own banner, but they're not going to get in.
I agree. Like, I think FSU should be in. So.
I think FSU, Liberty, Tulane, and JMU should be the 4 in the playoff.
Yeah,
That's who I think should be in there.
I like it. I have I don't know how you're saying there's not a lot of picks. I'm looking at this piece of paper. I have a bunch of them.
Well, that certainly does not.
I love every game.
Yeah, I know you do.
Can I do bonus picks this week?
I do want to say this. I threw in a $1 bet on every championship game, every favorite to cover their spread. I threw in a $1 bet. I think it pays out like $334 if it hits.
What? Who's the favorite? Like
every favorite.
What?
Huh? So you're telling me you bet against the Hawks? You suck.
Just
Every
just
favorite.
Just Power 5?
No.
Sure.
Troy, App State.
Oh, okay.
New Mexico, Liberty. Like it's like a 11 or 12 game parlay.
It doesn't even seem that crazy either. Like it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, but otherwise I like for bonuses, I like Liberty minus 10.5 on Friday night in the Conference USA Championship, as well as the over. I feel like this game is 75-85 every year. How does it not go over 56.5? I don't see how it doesn't.
There's no way it can't, Grant.
It has to.
Betfred
is possible.
Betfred is just unbelievable for setting the line there. Shout out to Betfred, by the way. Download the Betfred IO app today, and you can make all these picks along with Grant.
Use code
WASHED.
Code WASHED. Wow. I went with I like Oklahoma State too at plus 15. FSU minus 2.5. I agree. I think it's an overreaction. I think they're good. I thought it was an overreaction against Florida. They ended up covering barely, but they did.
Barely.
And I think it'll be the same here too. Also, like does Jeff Brom conference champion? Is that? I don't know. Just
he made it there once with Purdue.
He did. And then my pick for Oregon Washington is that I have Washington still 22-1 to win the national championship. So we need that desperately.
Yeah.
And it's also lost just all of its value. It's at 20-1 now. So it's it's bleak, but we're still here. What I'm taking though this weekend for my 3 is in the morning, Toledo minus 7.5 versus Miami of Ohio, the MAC championship. I love this game.
Prestigious.
Very prestigious championship. Toledo, their only loss was week 1 against Illinois when they should have beat them.
Yeah.
They should have won that game.
Yeah.
I think if they played tomorrow, they win that game. I just think Toledo's a better team. I think they're going to wear down on them. Their coach is getting hit right now with a lot of like head coach offerings in Power 5. I think this could be potential like farewell tour, go out on top. I like 7.5. I like it a lot. And then also SEC championship. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe how people have watched football for this long and are so quickly dismissing Alabama. I cannot believe it. We've played this game so many times. I can't believe it. We did this 2 years ago. Remember how dead they were? Everyone took Georgia and they just went in there.
We threw them out with the trash.
I can't believe it. I refuse to fall for it again. All right. I refuse to. I'm going to take Alabama plus 5. I'm taking the money line as well. I think they win.
Gary, I fucking love you, man.
But it's the same script. Bryce Young went to Auburn. He had to go 99 yards to win the game. And everyone was like, they're going to get rolled by Georgia. They were a touchdown underdog. They go beat Georgia. And then so forth. They ended up losing the national championship anyway. I'm taking Bama, though. That is the summary of that statement. And then, finally, Tulane, minus 3.5 versus SMU. I just think Tulane's a better team. That one lost to Ole Miss, and it was with a backup quarterback. I think they're a much better team now. And I think SMU is a good team. Just I don't think they're as good. And also, you got to remember, this is a home game. This is at Tulane.
Wow.
I think you got to take Tulane there. So I'm going to take Tulane as well. And then those are my picks. Do we want to do the walk-on parlay that was suggested? Do we want to each give our
Sure. We can offer up our best pick. My best pick, I think, is going to be that Washington plus 9.5.
Can I convince you to also get Washington at 20-1?
Sure. Okay.
Big 12 over. Last year of the true Big 12, they're going to score a lot of points like the Big 12 used to do.
I saw some scary stats about that. I think it's like 8 straight unders.
Well, then it's due.
It is due. All right, that's enough. I'm in now. All right, I'm in. Let's do it. All right, and then I'm gonna
just tell a betting man that something is due.
Okay, I'll do Alabama.
Okay,
5.5.
I love
5.5 is mine.
So Gary will put up that graphic as well, and you'll be able to bet the Walkon Parlay. Man, exciting, Gary. I want to be as passionate and as excited as about something in my life as you are talking here about championship weekend. We hope that at home, you guys listening are also as passionate. Take that passion to Indianapolis. Take it over to Lucas Oil Stadium, maybe Tin Roof first. Grab yourself a couple brewskis. Maybe someday along the line, we'll have Hops by a Million at Tin Roof, and you can drink some of those. Go into that stadium, cheer for the Hawks, give it everything you have. As Gary mentioned earlier in the season, you cheering matters. You can help the Hawks win on Saturday.
Yes.
Let's get a conference championship.
They need you.
Let's just win one.
It's like I said with the Final Four. It goes through the screen of your
60
TV.
minutes, lock the fucking door, quote Kevin, play your dick off, see what happens. We'll talk to you on Monday. Until then, peace.